In the sweltering heat of August 1926, nearly 100,000 people flooded the streets of New York City. They weren't celebrating a holiday or protesting a cause. They were mourning a man they had never met, a silent film actor whose smoldering gaze and romantic persona had captured the hearts of millions. This is the story of Rudolph Valentino, the first true male sex symbol of cinema, whose tragic death at age 31 sparked unprecedented public grief and riots. Multiple women reportedly attempted or committed suicide after the death of Rudolph Valentino. The man who would become known simply as Valentino arrived in America in 1913 with just $40 in his pocket, far from the seductive leading man that he would become. The young immigrant first worked as a gardener, dishwasher, and taxi dancer in New York City. As a taxi dancer, Valentino was paid to dance with lonely women at dance halls. Little did he know that this experience was preparing him for a future where millions of women would dream of being in his arms. Though truth be told, his dancing skills, specifically his tango, would play a critical role in his discovery. After moving to Hollywood and landing bit parts, it was his breakthrough role in The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse in 1921 that changed everything. This tango scene electrified audiences. Women had specifically never seen a man move like this on screen before. Sensual, confident, and erotic, Valentino represented a new type of masculine allure. In just 7 years, Valentino starred in 14 films, including classics like The Sheik, Blood and Sand, and The Son of the Sheik. His exotic looks challenged the traditional all-American male ideal. He was slender, graceful, with dark features that studios initially thought would limit him to a villain role. Instead, he became the ultimate romantic fantasy. The fanfare was unlike anything Hollywood had seen before. Women sent thousands of letters weekly. Some contained marriage proposals, locks of hair, and even more intimate items. They bought Valentino brand products, from cosmetics to cigarettes. Some fainted at his public appearances. He wasn't just famous, he was a phenomenon. Not everyone was enchanted by Valentino. Some male critics attacked Valentino's popularity, questioning his masculinity and calling him a threat to American manhood. Valentino was deeply hurt by these attacks. He responded by challenging a newspaper writer to a boxing match, which was never accepted. But he was in hopes of cultivating a more openly masculine public image. Yet these criticisms revealed how threatening Valentino's new model of the male sexuality was to traditional gender norms of the time. His romantic life was equally scrutinized. 2 failed marriages, first to actress Jean Aker in a union that was allegedly never consummated, and then to designer Natasha Rambova in a relationship that became a tabloid fixation. This all only added to his mystique. Questions arose about his sexual orientation and whether he was a great lover or not. The speculation only fueled public fascination. To add to Valentino's public woes, he was accused of bigamy after marrying Natasha, before his divorce from his first wife Jean was finalized in 1922. Valentino was charged with 2 counts of bigamy, one for marrying Natasha before his divorce was final, and another for cohabiting with Natasha in Riverside County. He was arrested and charged, but later released and cleared of the charges. Valentino's fame was such that the bigamy scandal, rather than damaging his image, seemed to enhance his romantic appeal. On August 15, 1926, Valentino collapsed in his hotel room at the Ambassador Hotel in New York City. He was rushed to Polyclinic Hospital with what doctors initially diagnosed as an appendicitis. Following surgery, his condition seemed to improve, but then took a sudden turn. What doctors didn't realize was that Valentino was suffering from an infection of the abdominal lining and a perforated ulcer. In the pre-antibiotic era, this condition was often fatal. Medical experts today believe modern treatment would have easily saved his life. This newspaper article talks about his last words and moments. It reads, "The last words he ever spoke, but a few hours before his death, were said in friendly conversation with one of the doctors who had tended him since his operation for appendicitis a week ago yesterday. He said then that the greatest thing I am looking forward to was a fishing trip on which he invited the physician to accompany him. Soon after, he lapsed into a coma from which he never rose. From time to time, he strained and tossed as though there were words he wished to utter. His 3 doctors and 2 nurses bent low above him, trying to catch his meaning from the faint muttering which was all that passed his lips." As news spread of Valentino's illness, fans gathered outside the hospital. Women prayed on their knees on the sidewalk. Some reportedly offered to donate their blood. One devoted fan even attempted suicide outside the hospital gates. What followed was unprecedented. When Valentino's body was laid out at Campbell's funeral home in New York City, an estimated 100,000 fans gathered outside. The funeral home had planned for a crowd, but nothing of this magnitude. As temperatures soared into the 90s, the crowd grew increasingly desperate to view the body. What began as mourning turned into hysteria. Police lines were broken. Windows were shattered. People fainted in the heat and were trampled. The peaceful vigil had become what newspapers called a riot of grief. Soon mounted police were called in to restore order. Dozens were injured. The funeral home was forced to close its doors early, meaning thousands who had waited hours would never get their chance to say goodbye. This only intensified the frenzy. Most shocking were reports that some fans were so distraught that they took their own lives upon hearing the news. While exact numbers are difficult to verify through historical records, newspapers reported at least 3 confirmed suicides directly attributed to Valentino's death. 2 women and 1 man. One woman poisoned herself beside a shrine of Valentino photos. Another jumped from a hotel window. Whether exaggerated or not, these reports speak to the extraordinary emotional connections fans felt with Valentino, a connection that seems to transcend our modern understanding of celebrity worship. After the viewing, Valentino's body was transported by train to Hollywood for a second funeral and burial. Famous actors including Douglas Fairbanks and Mary Pickford served as honorary pallbearers. Paula Negri, a famous actress who claimed to be Valentino's fiancée, though many question this, collapsed dramatically at the service, further feeding the media frenzy. On September 7, 1926, Valentino was laid to rest in what is now Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Even in death, there was drama. His final resting place was actually a borrowed crypt, and his estate was tied up in legal troubles. It would be years before a proper memorial was erected. And then there's perhaps the most enduring legend associated with Valentino's death, the mysterious woman in black. Beginning on the first anniversary of his death in 1927, a veiled woman dressed in black was observed placing a single red rose on Valentino's tomb. Her identity remained unknown, though many claimed to know who she was. Some said she was a jilted lover, others a publicity stunt. The most compelling theory identified her as Deirdre Flame, a woman whom Valentino had visited in the hospital when she was seriously ill as a child. He had bought her a red rose and told her, "You are not going to die at all. You are going to outlive me." She later claimed she was repaying that kindness. Whatever the truth, the woman in black became a sensation in her own right. Eventually, multiple women in black began appearing at the annual memorial services, some claiming to be the original, others paying tribute to both Valentino and the mysterious mourners. The tradition continued to this day, with women in black still occasionally spotted at the grave. Nearly a century after his death, Valentino's influence persists. His films have been preserved by the Library of Congress. His image continues to appear in art and pop culture. Andy Warhol created a famous series of paintings based on Valentino's publicity photos. Fan clubs still meet annually at his grave. Rudolph Valentino's life was brief but extraordinary, from Italian immigrant to the world's first male sex symbol in just 31 years. His death revealed something about our relationship with celebrities that remains true today, our desire to connect with those who move us on the screen, sometimes an extent that blurs the lines between admiration and obsession. Thank you for watching today. We invite you to watch all our famous funeral and obituary videos.